Hello. What's up, folks? We are back again with another problem, and in this question, we need to remove all the duplicate elements from a sorted list. Like we are given a linked list and not an array. We have done this question part 1 and part 2 for array, and now we are going to do the part 2 of this question for the linked list. Okay, so it is pretty basic question, and I tried to use a hash map for it, but it wasn't worth the approach. It can be done in 3-pointer approach clearly. So what we need is we need a list. Okay, let me explain you the question. We are given and let me explain you the question with an example. So we are given a linked list 1 2 3 3 4 4 5. So we see that 3 is repeated as well as 4 is repeated, so we need to remove all the 3. We do not need to remove 3 once. We don't even need the 3. We will remove it completely, and the final list would be 1 2 and 5. So we don't need this 3 nor this 4. And same, if a head element is repeated thrice, then we do not keep it. And what if all the elements are repeated? Like there is a list where all the elements are repeated, then we return null. Okay, so here what do we need is we need first, if we can see in this case the head is not changed, but here if the head is repeated, then we need to remove the head, so head can change, hence we need a dummy head. So I'll call it dum equals to new list node, and what it will have is it will have any random value. For me, I'll keep it 0, and it will point to head. Done. Next, what I want is, okay, let's not copy. I want a list node, and I'll call it previous, the previous pointer. I'll explain you what this does in a second, and this will point to my dum. Done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to now my dummy points here somewhere there. Let's just say that. And what I want to do is, let's close this. Yeah, now what I want to do is I want to keep my head or any pointer moving until it goes on to the last part where the repeated number is. So I'll check if this is equal to this, move my head. If this is equal to this, move my head. Now I am here because 1 is not equal to 2. Then what I'll do is I'll change the value of my previous, which is on the dum right now, to the next value of this. I'll show you how. Okay, let's bring it back, otherwise my face would be in between the code. So while my head is not equal to null, the first thing is this, and we need to iterate. So the first thing I'll do is I'll change the value of head, and let's look at what we need to do in between. We need to check for if another condition, if head dot next is not null, because we need to check its value. We need to compare the value of current head and its next. So I'll check head dot well equals to head dot next dot well. If this happens at any point of time, I need to do something. What I need to do is I need to move my head forward. Where do I need to move it? To the last part where there are still repeated value, but there can be one situation while moving, head can encounter null value because it might be the last element. So I again need to check for this condition, that its next is not null. Then only I can check for the value of head dot next dot well. Otherwise it would give a null pointer exception quite clearly. Then what I want to do is I want to change my head equals to head dot next. I'll do that, and then what I want to do is, right now my previous is on dummy or any other value. I want its next to point to head's next. Done. Else, if this does not happen, then I want my previous to also move forward. I'll explain you this with an example. Prev dot next until everything's done. Next I want to return my dum dot next, because my dummy is a dummy head, and the next thing, the next node to this is where it actually starts. My list actually starts, and it's done. Now back with an example. what I want you to understand is now here. Now my previous is here, and my dummy is somewhere here. It is non-existent. Create a 0 there. My previous is also on it right now. So I start the while loop. While head is not equals to null, what I check? If it is not equals to null, then I check if its next is not equal to null. It is not, and these two are equal. Since they are not, we move forward, and my previous is also upgraded. So my previous is on 1, head is on 2, dummy is on 0. Okay, so now again head checks for the condition, fails. Now my previous is on 2, heads on 3. Now head checks for the condition and it passes. So my heads move forward. Now my head is on 3, it again checks for the condition and it fails. So now what happens is I assign heads next, I mean this 3's next value, to my previous next, that is this 2's next value. So there is a link, this link is broken, and this link is created like this. Although this link still exists, it does not matter, because while we are iterating 1 2, it would be 4 then again right now I'm on 4, and what my previous is, it's still on 2. It hasn't incremented, so it's not on 4, it's still on 2. So then what happens is, again my while loop runs and it checks for the condition, and again the condition is true, so it moves here, and again the condition is false, and my previous is here is 4. Then the 2's next value from this 4 is plucked out and it's placed here to this 5, and now my new list is 1 2 and 5. And I have not taken head as my dummy node, because I have to take a dummy head, because since this one exists, one may repeat sometimes and we may need to delete this one. So if my head is pointing to this, then the list will be lost. And that was it for this question. Thank you so much, guys.